Morning guys, Pamela from Flippdit here. I just want to share very quickly with you 3 mistakes that I made last night using oil-based paint. So you may remember in a previous video that I described the difference between what's a water-based and what's an oil-based paint. Sadly last night on using the oil-based paint I ran into 3 of the things that I mentioned during that video. Sorry, my eyes watering a bit. So I just want to share them with you so that you don't make the same mistake. So number 1, I wiped the piece down with a cloth with turps on it before after the sanding process, which I was advised to do by another YouTuber. Good advice. However, one thing that they probably neglected to mention that I'm going to mention is please allow the piece to dry completely before you try and apply your coat of paint afterwards. If you were using a water-based paint and you sanded your piece down, you would just use a damp cloth with water on it. Also allow the piece to dry completely, but in particular with the turps, because what's happened is the paint's kind of split in areas. It's not been able to grip the surface because of the turps. Turps is a paint thinner. The second mistake is I used a medium pile roller. So the piece is absolutely covered in tiny minor hairs, okay? So I'm going to show you what a medium pile roller looks like here. So this is one dry, you see it's fluffy. So these wee fluffy fibres are in the paint finish, so they need to be sanded off. The third mistake was, and I advised people in my video last night not to use oil-based paint without a mask, as it can make you feel quite ill, and I woke up this morning with a headache and I felt quite ill. So 3 mistakes that I made and have learned the hard way using this oil-based paint. Just want to share them with you so that you don't make the same mistakes. So how I'm going to have to combat this is I'm going to have to sand this entire piece back to remove the majority of the oil-based primer. I am then going to go out and acquire some water-based primer, come back and mix some of my own sort of formula that I like to use in these cabinets because it's solid. What I've found is even with a wee slight rub that I've given this morning, it's started to take the primer off and go back to the wood. So a pretty pointless venture, guys, which could have been prevented had I just not made some rookie mistakes. And there's no excuse for that because I'm a painter, I'm a professional, I should know these things. I should have known that by not, in my haste to get paint on, by not allowing the turps to dry completely, that was going to happen. I'll just move the phone and very quickly show you what it is that I'm talking about, what it is I'm referring to, and hopefully the camera focuses and you can see the detail. I still kind of getting to grips. Sorry, he's running about chewing his slipper like mad this morning. It's so funny having a dog about, I'm not used to it. But yeah, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So on the top here, you can see those tiny little white spots. These are wee sections, obviously, where I'm actually genuinely at a loss, to be honest, what the wee spots are. But you can see the little fibres from the hairs. I've sanded them all out this morning by just literally giving it a light rub with a sanding block. However, I'm about to tackle the entire thing with this 120 grade sandpaper, and sadly, because this is still slightly tacky, a lot of this primer is going to stick to this sandpaper in little chunks, which is going to affect its efficacy, because it won't, the face of the sanding paper won't be able to make Teaser, do you mind? Won't be able to reach the surface to sand it off. So you can kind of see here what I'm talking about with the splitting. And in here mainly, you see this dimpling where the paint has sort of split and hasn't stuck to the wood, and you can still see the wood now. I will say, when you give something a coat of primer for the first time, bare wood, you usually can see the wood through the primer in areas. That's the nature of it. It builds up in coats. So you would usually use either a primer undercoat in one, or you would prime it and then undercoat it. But it definitely shouldn't look like that. That's something different altogether. That's splitting paint. So we're all about progress, not perfection on this channel. I did say this is a new venture for me, although I'm a painter and I've been used to painting walls and people's woodwork for years. Furniture's quite new to me, so yeah, mistakes made, lessons learned, wanted to share them with you guys. Hopefully it helps somebody. If it does, like and subscribe for further content. I'm Pamela, this is Flippdit. Thanks for your time today. Have a good one.